Mr. President, on November 5th, President Donald J. Trump was elected to a second term on the back of a big tent coalition. In 2024, this election showed us that we needed to put the finishing touches on a shift that we've seen occurring in our party and our nation. The Republican Party is the party of parents. We're the party of families, and we're the party of hard-working Americans. And we have an opportunity to prove it, starting with addressing our country's child care crisis. Mr. President, anyone who has kids can attest to this. It is incredibly difficult to find affordable, accessible, high-quality childcare. When I was a student in Tuscaloosa, I had gone back to school with essentially a newborn and an 11-month-old and decided, why not? Law school sounds good. I joke that on the scale of bad ideas I've had in my life, and I've had a few, that one is without a doubt number one. And in the midst of trying to figure out my 1L year, I also had to figure out childcare. And it was challenging for me to find a place where I could get both of my kids in. So at the very beginning, there I was, taking one child to one place and one child to another, all hoping to show up at torts on time, and then get back before you get fined, picking them both up and hoping traffic didn't keep me from being late. When my husband and I had the opportunity to move to Birmingham, where he began his new career, and I had one more year of law school left, we got them immediately, both of our kids, into one child care facility. But the check that we wrote, Mr. President, wow, it felt like I was writing a check for a college tuition and not a check for a 3- and 4-year-old to be cared for and loved and educated during the day. Well, I tell you what, the problem, that was, 13 years ago? It's only gotten worse. Child care costs had been increased. They've actually increased 36% over the last 10 years, actually outpacing inflation. It's gotten to the point where parents on average, y'all, are spending 22% of their income on child care. The median annual price of child care in this country is about $15,600. The cost is crushing for so many parents. It's also prohibitive. So ask yourself this. How many married couples do you think about having another child? They want to, and they start looking at the dollars and cents and feel like they can't financially afford it? To my fellow Republicans, don't we want to incentivize rather than deter parents from starting their families? And how can we, as the party of life and the party of families and the party of parents and the party of workers, neglect to make that easier? If our goal is creating a comprehensive culture of life, and that should absolutely be our goal, then we have a role to play in the child care space. But families are not the only ones that are affected by the current state of child care in this country. The amount of money that the American economy loses annually because of child care, the challenges that we face as a result of the affordability and accessibility are staggering. Our economy loses $122 billion a year. 74% of mothers and 66% of fathers either have to leave work early, arrive late, or be absent because of last-minute changes in childcare. 59% of part-time or non-working parents say they would go back to work. They want to go back to work. But unfortunately, they don't have access to quality childcare at a reasonable cost. That isn't good for the broader economy, and it isn't good for American workers. President Trump has made it clear he wants America to be a place that builds things once again. He wants to unleash a golden era for made in America excellence, where the skill, hard work, and ingenuity of our people accomplishes the impossible and changes the world. To accomplish that goal, which I wholeheartedly agree with, we need to tackle the child care affordability crisis. Ultimately, this is a workforce crisis as well. That's where a two-pronged approach that I have introduced today alongside a number of my colleagues, Mr. President, comes into play. With the Child Care Workforce Act and the Child Care Availability and Affordability Act, it consists of targeted investments in families and small businesses. It modernizes our existing tax credits so that our policy reflects our current economic reality. It's a good example of common sense policymaking. We are not creating or growing another entitlement. We are letting Americans keep more of their hard-earned taxpayer dollars in a manner that grows our economy and gives people an opportunity for their American dream. And we're offering job creators an incentive to invest directly into hardworking people with child care-related benefits. We'll help couples who want to have more children. We'll help parents be able to re-enter the workforce after having kids, and we'll help our job creators, especially small businesses, recruit and retain workers. This legislation is pro-family, it's pro-Main Street, it's pro-growth. For the first time in years, the Republican Party controls both chambers of Congress, Mr. President, and the White House. We have an opportunity we can't afford to waste. If we truly are the party of parents and families and hardworking Americans, we have an opportunity to prove it. Let's address the child care crisis in this year's tax package, Mr. President. I think America will be better for it. Thank you. I yield the floor.